Alright, hello everyone. So from this module we are going to start with Context API. So what is Context API in React, why it is so useful and what it will actually help you to do. That's all we are going to see in this particular module, right? So first let's talk about this Context API. What is this Context API? But before moving to this Context API, we first need to understand that why do we need Context API, right? So there are some problems, right? There are some problems that you can face while developing a React application. And first we'll discuss those problems and then we'll see that how Context API will help you to solve that particular problem, right? So let's first try this. Okay. So what I will do is I'll just take a very simple example, right? Will not use any technical definitions. I'll just use a very real life example. Okay. Let's suppose that we have a family, right? Let's suppose we have a family, right? And this family has members, right? A family have family members. So let's suppose this family has grandparents, right? Then in the hierarchical order we'll go. So after that we'll have our parents, right? So right now we have our grandparents and then we have our parents. And then for these parents, we have children, right? So let's suppose we have two children. So I'll just name them child 1 and child 2, right? Something like that. So this is the structure that we have right now. Family, grandparents, parents, child 1, child 2, like that. And they have a family message with them, right? Let's suppose they have a family message which should be passed down to each and every family member when they basically come of that age, right? So basically grandparents has a message, and when the parents grew up, they pass down that message to them. When the children grew up, the parents will pass down that message to the children, like that, right? So every family has a secret, right? So that secret we need to pass down, right? So I'm calling that as a message. Okay, so now what will happen is that, okay, this family has this message. Now this needs to be passed down to your grandparents. So this will be passed down to your grandparents, right? Like that. So over here we have a message. Now grandparents will pass this message down to your parents. So they pass down this particular message to your parents, right? And then you have children, right? So both of the children should get the message. So what we'll do, we'll need to pass this message to child 1 as well, and we'll need to pass this message to the child 2 as well. So both of them should receive this message because it's important for both of them, right? Like that, right? So this message, basically, what is the order of this message? One message going to grandparents, then that message going to parents, then that message going to all the children, right? In an order, step by step, from family, grandparents, then parents, parents, then children, like that, right? So now let's see what is actually I'm trying to explain over here. So let's suppose all of these particular family members, grandparents, parents, children, are your React components, right? Everyone is a React component and this family is your app. Basically, you have a root level component. It gets rendered inside the root level component. But now we have this app. And after this app, now what we can have multiple components inside our app component, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, that we have this grandparents. Let's suppose this is a component. This A component renders out the B component, right? So B component is a part of A component. We're rendering out inside the A component, right? So now app, component A, component B, then we can have component C, and let's suppose this is my component D, like that, right? So we are rendering out each and every component inside each other. And what is this message right now? Yes, this message can be any prop. Right? This message can be any prop. So what is happening with that prop? So first we are getting this prop in our app component. Okay, so we have this prop. Now we are passing it down to a component A. Okay, now we see that okay, B also needs this prop. So we are taking the prop again from component A, we are passing it to component B. Okay, now we got that okay, C and D also needs this prop. So we are taking that prop from the B component and we are passing it to C and D. Why? Because we cannot directly pass this prop from app directly to C. We'll have to go through its hierarchical ordered parent component, right? So what is the parent of C and D? It's B. What is the parent of B? It's A. What is the parent of A? It's the app component. And we have our property inside that app component. So we need to pass this down from one component to other component to other component to other component, like that. We cannot directly access this particular property for C. I mean, we cannot do that if I take this prop and if I can just directly pass this to C. This is not allowed, right? And to solve this particular problem, now you must see a problem over here. Now what is the problem? Your code will become very less maintainable if you approach it in this way, right? Because you are just passing down props from one component to other component to other component to other component, like that, right? And you can just use your common sense and you can get it that this will not be a right way of doing it, right? If you have a very large code base, what you will do, you will keep on doing this. You'll be you'll keep on passing props from one component to other component to other component, like that. No, right? It's not a right way to do it. And this particular problem, when we are passing down props from each and every component one by one, this problem is known as prop drilling, right? Because you're actually drilling down these props from one component to other components, like that. So this particular thing is known as prop drilling, and this thing can be a very big red flag for your React code, right? So that's because you're passing down props, you'll be having multiple components, you'll be dealing with multiple data, your code will become less maintainable, less readable, and that will not be a good code, right? So what we can do instead, we can use something known as context, right? That I'll show you how to use this context. So what this context will make you do is, that will exactly tell you what you are not allowed to do over here. That will exactly make you do what you are not allowed to do here. We can just directly take this prop and we can pass it to any component that we want. So we'll not have to drill it through the parents or basically the grandparents, the children to their children, like that. We'll not have to drill it, right? So that's the entire concept why the context API comes into the picture. And this, what we'll do is, first we'll basically map out this particular example that I gave in code. We'll see how prop drilling exactly works, and then we'll refactor that code with using context API, and we'll see how you can get an improved code with context API. See you in the next lecture.